All right, now I'm ready. All right, guys, can y'all see that? Everybody give me a thumbs up. I can see on the screen. Good. Well, y'all know what time it is, right? Time to talk about that dark shit. Time to get into that Scorpio energy. So welcome to my monthly moon class. For those of you that are new, which I don't see no new people in here, it seems like y'all the old people from last month, which is great. You know, but this is my monthly moon class. It gives me the opportunity to talk to people who want to start to incorporate using astrology, not just, you know, when you want to conveniently use it for your new babes and your new boo or stuff going wrong, but start to incorporate it on a monthly basis of how to really maximize your natal charts, maximize your energy to be able to draw your manifestations a lot faster and be able to clear a lot of the energy and things that you don't even know what's going on. So a lot of the energy for this month is like really super intense, but I'm gonna tell y'all, out of the entire 2020, this portal that you're in right now is the biggest portal that you're going to experience in your life, okay? Do not take this portal lightly. This is a clearing portal. What I mean is a lot of the attachments that you came here in this round with, carrying on your mom and your dad's karma, those things, this is the portal right here to drop that shit off. This is the one to release it. So understand that the Scorpio portal in this 2020 is filled with so much release of a lot of things, not just for us on personal level, but as a world, as a global entity. We're dealing with the shedding of a lot of old models, old ideas, old things. So what you are feeling and have been feeling for the last week, especially this past week here, because it's been super intense, what you've been feeling is destruction. You know what I'm saying? So those of you have seen, you know, I've been posting things on Facebook saying, hey, no matter how this election turns out, it ain't gonna stop our destruction. That's because it's time for us to release. And if we want to release, destruction comes with release. And we're going to learn that, you know, in talking about today and talking about Scorpio and how Scorpio is the master of helping us to transform and release. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. So for today's class, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the basic aspects of Scorpio. We're going to learn about Scorpio and Taurus from the Mars and the Pluto perspective / Venus. We're also going to talk about the 3 stages of Scorpio. Now, that is the part that I want you guys to pay the most attention to, because I think a lot of people focus on one aspect of Scorpio. But if you really look at the totality of Scorpio, and I want y'all to be thinking about Jean Grey as a model in your head, okay? When I'm thinking it, if y'all know, if you watch X-Men, or if you are a comic geek, or, you know, like any type of action, that kind of stuff, X-Men, Jean Grey is a one of the superheroes / scientists on X-Men, and she has several different levels to her power. So I want y'all to just keep her in mind, okay? Your Pluto sign, the transformer and the revealer. We're gonna talk about what your Pluto sign means in your particular chart. So I hope y'all brought y'all charts to class, okay? Because I'm getting ready to ask y'all what these characteristics are, so I'll know what what y'all are dealing with for this month too. Okay, so also we're gonna talk about your 8th house sign. Your Pluto sign and your 8th house sign may be different. It should be different. It might not be, just depending on how your aspects fall. Of course, we're going to talk about medical astrology. I want to tell you how all this shit is now affecting your body. And then, of course, I cannot let y'all get off here without us talking about Lovecraft Country, okay, the finale. Gotta talk about it. It's a whole lot of different views out here as it pertains to what happened and people being disappointed that Tick died and all these things. If you didn't watch it and you came to class, shame on you again. I keep telling y'all, don't come to this class without watching something from Lovecraft, because I'm going to spoil it for you if you have not, okay? So we're going to talk about it because I want you guys to see, now that we are dealing with the Scorpio axis, right, and dealing with this energy, I want to talk about how the finale had a lot to do with it. Had a lot to do with what I just said about us letting go a lot of old models and ideas surrounding like what we've been living in, meaning what we were born into and what we're now releasing. All of that shit was in Lovecraft. All of that was in the finale. So a lot of people was confused because it was so much in it, right? So we're going to talk about that. And like I said, I'm going to talk about rituals and things that I want you guys to be thinking about doing today if you have not done already. And what that's going to be talking about is really building of a shrine. Okay, I know you guys hear about altar all the time and work your altar. But a lot of people don't know that having a shrine can actually empower your intentions. Shrine has everything to do with your ancestors. So when we get to talking about the ritual, I'm going to talk to you guys about things that you can kind of actually do, getting pictures, getting candles, cooking favorite foods. So it's kind of similar to what you would be doing to your altar, but this is specifically designed for like talking to those who have transitioned over. And because we are in the thinnest part of the veil of the year period, but because this is 2020 and it's a huge portal, they are waiting. They want the conversation. Your ancestors are waiting for you to come and talk to them about some shit, okay? So I want you guys to be thinking about that. We're going to talk about that at the end. All right, so let's get into the basics of Scorpio, okay? Because I'm going to talk to you guys if you don't know anything. You got something to say, Naima? Okay.
Crystal's trying to get into the room.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hold on a minute. Okay. Admit all. All right. Did y'all making it? Are y'all in here? Karima. I see it connected to audio. Are you here, Karima? I think I got y'all all muted. Okay. Awesome. Y'all keep letting me know if y'all see anything else. All right, go back to tools. All right, so of course we gotta talk about the basics, okay? Because I have to talk to y'all like y'all don't know shit about nothing. If you know stuff about it already, if you already in class with me or you're taking sessions and stuff with me, you know this is stuff we talk about anyway, which is you learning your basics, okay? So the basics of Scorpio, okay? The symbol is the scorpion, all right? The keywords that goes along with Scorpio is I desire. The dates are October 23rd through November 22nd, and that can fluctuate depending on the leap year, okay? The element is water. The planets that deal with Scorpio is both Mars and Pluto, okay? Now we have some aspects that deal with two planets, and because that means it deals with a lot more, intensity sometimes, because it has these two planets that it can kind of go back and forth in between. And because Scorpio encompasses both Mars and Pluto, that in itself means a lot, okay? We already know Mars is the push, right? And Mars is to get this shit going. Mars is the sex drive. But Pluto is the change and the transformation. So if you think about these two together and how they exist inside of Scorpio, you're talking about movement, you're talking about sex drive, and you're talking about change and transformation. That's why it is known for being the place that we use for sex magic, and why we're going to talk about that today too. All right. The polar sign for Scorpio is Taurus. Body parts that it rules is the prostate, the genital organs, and the nasal bones. Okay. The house is associated is the 8th house. The mode is fixed. Polarity is yin, negative, female. Season is late autumn. The day of the week is Tuesday. So it joins, Aries is also Tuesday. So, but Aries is also Mars, okay? So know that they share that day. Colors are deep red, like you see I got on, on the slide. Maroon, blacks, and brown. So just think about your dark colors or your dark goddess energy. All right. All right. So let's talk about, let me minimize this. Let's talk about the characteristics of Scorpio versus Taurus. Okay. And all this Mars, Pluto, and Venus. So when you talk about the axis that we're in right now, what are we dealing with inside, or what key planets are we dealing with outside of the other transitions that are going on, and the other planets that may be having conversations, like the Mercury retrograde that's going on and the Mars retrograde energy that's going on. Those outside of those things, what's the core thing that's going to happen every year during this portal? And what's going to happen is you're going to be dealing with Mars, Pluto, and Venus, regardless, okay? Regardless of whether or not you have these things that are very strong in your chart, you're still having the conversation. So when it comes down to Scorpio, right? The Scorpio zodiac is ruled by two planets, like I said. It's ruled by Pluto and it's ruled by Mars. The Pluto part has everything to do with the transformation and the psychic energy, okay? Scorpio is very psychic, and so is Aries energy is very psychic too, okay? The Mars part of it is the ruler of self-expression and the movement. So like I said, it's how we move, how we initiate, how you get from this point to the next point is what Mars is dealing with. Okay, the Scorpio symbol is represented by the scorpion, which symbolizes power and intimacy. As a fixed sign, Scorpio is determined, stable, yet pushy in personality. So what that means is when Scorpio comes into a space, it can be seen as being real grounded, right, real strong, but very pushy. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't like to deal with Scorpios. I know I've been one for a very long time in my life. Avoided a lot of Scorpio energy. And I think a lot of it was because I had so much Mars energy, myself being the Aries, it was conflict, right? But I didn't realize that, you know, what was really happening wasn't the Scorpio necessarily trying to, you know, quote unquote, initiate conflict as it was trying to help me to move past or move through some things. Because that's what Scorpio energy does. It helps you to move through things. So it can look pushy and come off as pushy, but it can read spaces where there's uncomfortabilities, okay? So it said they have a strong my way or the highway attitude about things. I tend to think that when Scorpios are in their primary aspects or in the first beginning degrees of it, yes, it can be a my way or the highway attitude, but so can the Mars energy or the Aries energy. Aries energy can also be that way, you know, meaning like it can want to come off as, oh, I want this is mine, or I want this, and if I can't have this way, then fine. So Aries and Scorpio match in that way, meaning that it has this energy of when it is very premature or immature in this communication, it can tend to come off like, you know, I want everything to be my way. As a water sign, Scorpio will be very in tune with their emotions, no matter how deep and intense. That's what I love about the Scorpio energy, okay? How intense it is. Meaning it's not afraid of the raw. It's not afraid of those things, right? Now, that could be a good thing, and to some people it could be a bad thing. If you're a person who does not like intensity, then being around a person like a Scorpio, especially with all the Mars and the Pluto energy, or being around areas that has that Mars energy, can come off as like, oh, I don't like this, right? It's just because it's so intense and it's so deep, and it tends to make you feel where you may not want to feel. All right. Scorpios are flirtatious, but they would rather enter a serious relationship than dating a string of strangers. So even though they are known for being very sexual in nature, or coming off as very sexual in nature, right? It still rathers really partnership. It rathers having a space that it can support, or having an agenda it can support. I tell people that Scorpio energy is the most supportive aspect, I think. I think Scorpio, and then I think the next that kind of comes in, well, a lot of the water signs, period, can be very supportive. You know what I'm saying? But Scorpio tends to be the most supportive because it can feel the intensity, it can feel where it needs to be, and it tends to show up versus it showing up knowing that it needs to be, you know, doing something, but doesn't necessarily, it waits for somebody to give it some direction, right? So Scorpio doesn't do that. It just comes in almost like it's their shit, you know? So they make really good vice president, VPs, assistants to things, because the way that they come in and boss stuff is almost like it's theirs. And so you really need that, you know, being the person, I'm a, you know, business owner, like I'm always looking for people who can come in and, you know, just take over sometimes. Because shit, I got so much stuff to do, right? So having that type of support is really necessary. So wherever this Scorpio energy tends to show up for you, this is where you tend to be supportive or want to be supportive, okay? Now, flipping over to the Taurus side of things, right? Now, the Taurus side, which is the polar opposite to Scorpio, meaning if you was looking at the coin, and if Scorpio was the head, then tails would be Taurus, right? Now, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Now, we just finished talking about Venus last month when we talked about the Libra perspectives, right? And showing that both Libra and Taurus share this planet, share this characteristics. So with Venus being the topic in dealing with Taurus, it comes back to this idea of dealing with the all things good, all things love, good money, good sex, laying out, let me have it, take care of me. Oh, this is good, this is stable. All things Venus deals with, all things dealing with love and beauty and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So this sign wants to be grounded. It wants to be in a place where it can be stable first. And then once it's stable, then it can start to like feel better. Or then it can start to like, you know, really start to tap in deeper into what's going on. Okay. But because the Taurus is known to be stubborn, or their symbol is the bull, right? Or in quotes, rather committed, because Taurus, where Scorpio is the extreme supportive partner, the Taurus partner is very committed. You know what I'm saying? So meaning where the Scorpio eventually is, if something's going wrong in the relationship, the Scorpio eventually is going to try to push that thing to change and transform, or it's going to move and leave. Why? Because change and transform is the Pluto part, right? Or leave, which is the Mars. But Taurus, not so much. Taurus will stay, right? It will stay in the committed situation and not necessarily say anything either. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes Taurus can go into that space, you know, just trying to, you know, do the nurturing thing, or, you know, doing whatever they feel like they know they need to do, versus having to like really activate that change, you know, or being like the Scorpio would be and going and trying to make situations change. Okay. As a fixed sign, Taurus will be nurturing, stable, and patient, like I just said, and they like to wait for things to bloom. So that's the reason why they're not really pushing or trying to like jump out of something really quickly, because in their minds, oh, this may bloom or this may change, right? Well, why are they like that? Well, Taurus is also earth, right? It's also ground, grass, flowers, trees. So because it's all of this, it's used to watching things grow. And because it's used to watching things grow, it may stay in position to see if this is going to grow or see if it's going to turn into something. All right. They tend to care about materialistic things a lot because they want to live comfortable. So that's another thing that tends to keep a Taurus kind of stable, is because if the foundation is good, you know, meaning that they're stable in a stable environment, they got the money, they being taken care of, they being nurtured, they got all these things in place, right? They'll deal with most things. Why? Because they stable. The foundation is, I want to be stable, right? But when it comes down to a lot of this, right, it because they want to stay in a situation, it can tend to make them have to work a little bit harder, you know, for certain situations. And then definitely have to stick to a routine, which they're capable of. Taurus don't mind being, you know, in a routine if it's going to work and make things happen. All right. They are very terrified of change, you know, which makes them kind of similar to Scorpio, because Scorpio sometimes can be fearful, but they're not afraid of change. So you see how they can be kind of the same, but kind of different, you know? Scorpios are definitely a fearful energy, but it will change by all means necessary. It will kill itself to change. Whereas Taurus is also fearful, but it ain't like, I don't know about this. New things, wait, what's going on, right? So they get attached to a lot of the routines, they get attached to a lot of different things. So when you think about these two axes as it relates to right now, right? Because we finna get ready to go into the different phases of Scorpio, meaning those three stages. As we came into the Scorpio energy, everything was just like, oh, chaotic, right? You know, oh my God, what's going on? The retrograde started kicking up a little bit more because the, you know, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, which it intensified it, right? But as things were falling apart, and as things was going on, one thing that you can also say is that your opportunities haven't stopped. Your money is still flowing, right? The only way those things may have stopped for you is if you're in a situation where you are talking against things. Like, oh my God, I don't never get stuff. If you're doing that, then maybe your stuff has stopped. But if you had just been aware of what's going on and taking this energy in as it's been coming, right? As a Scorpio, because Scorpio came through with the retrograde, like all this shit need to fall off, right? So exes calling, people who you had unresolved situations with showed up out of the blue. I know I had something that showed up 7 years, okay? And she just showed up here in Atlanta. And I'm like, I thought this was clear, right? Obviously it wasn't. So a lot of these things that came in was because these little small things that to you that you thought you had moved out the way or got over, moved past, you've been lying. It's been some stuff there. You know, I didn't even know. I told myself that it was clear, which I thought it was, but then when she showed up, I realized it wasn't. So I'm grateful that the retrograde brought that in because it allowed me to really see, you know what I'm saying, what it was that I may have needed to like clear a little bit more on, okay? But in the midst of all of this is going on, understand that you are still being blessed. You're still getting the things that you have been requesting, okay? So you don't hold on to what's falling off or what's breaking off. Recognize the reason why that's happening is because the things that you've been requesting is now coming in. So it may look crazy, feel crazy, throw you all over, but you gotta be standing in a space of knowing that you are grounded. And that's what this Taurus full moon is about. Being grounded. You're grounded. Stay, you know, be like a bull that won't move. I don't give a fuck what's happening around me. This is what I'm getting. This is what I'm receiving. This is what I'm opening to. Why? Because Venus is a blessing. Venus is a treasure chest. Give it to me. Okay? So that's what's been going on as we've been leading up to this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit more about the full moon on the end. But let's get into the 3 stages. Before we get into the 3 stages, hold on. Let me get into, pull y'all back up so I can see y'all. All right, in the chat, I want y'all to type in what your Pluto sign is. Also type in what your 8th house sign is. Okay. And then also type in what your Mars sign is. Let me go into this chat. Somebody else is trying to get in or everybody in? Okay, I see it. Pluto and Libra, Pluto and Scorpio. Yeah, just do the Pluto signs right now. I'll come back and ask y'all the other one so you won't have to go back. If you've already typed it, that's great. That's good. All right. Great, great, great. All right. Pluto and Scorpio, 8th house Cancer. Pluto and Scorpio, 8th house, and Mars is in Aries. All right, Kamina. That's very interesting. All right, Pluto, Libra. Okay, Pluto, Scorpio. All right, Pluto, Scorpio, 8th house, Aries, Mars. Okay. All right. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So let's get into these 3 stages of Scorpio. Okay. Now, to me, this is one of the most important things because it relates to all of us, regardless of where your Scorpio energy is. And what I mean is when the Scorpio season comes in, right? Like, for example, let me take my phone. We are in 10 degrees Scorpio. I don't know if y'all can see that my phone kind of dirty, but don't, you know. We are in 10 degrees Scorpio, okay? Just keep that in mind as I'm talking about this, where we are today. The way Scorpio actually breaks down, Scorpio is not an even sign. What I mean is it's not the same throughout the whole 30 degrees or throughout the whole 29, 30 days that it is in its season, okay? It has different levels to it, and the levels all depend on what degrees it is. So I want you to, first of all, think about wherever your Scorpio energy is, right? So, of course, Scorpio energy revolves around Pluto and Mars, but you also have Scorpio signs. You got Scorpio within your chart. Depending on what degrees that Scorpio energy is, depending on what degrees your Pluto is, depending on what degrees your Mars is, this is talking about how you are correlating to that energy, okay? Now, right now, we just turned, after the full moon in Taurus, we're just now getting into 10 degrees. So where we are right now in our cycle of relating to Scorpio for the season is we are day 1 into the eagle. But let's talk about the Scorpion, because this is the one I think everybody is used to seeing. Most people's experience with the Scorpio energy is the Scorpion. It's at the 0 to 10 degrees, which is a very raw energy, right? At that stage, okay, it's like really concerned with dealing with the transformation. It represents our base emotions and the dark emotions. So when we start talking about the dark shit, oh my God, I'm depressed, I'm in that space. This is the stage that you're in. You're in the beginning stages of the transformation. You're in the beginning stages of the breakdown, okay? So where we have been since Scorpio season started up until today, right? Or right after this full moon energy, we have been in the first stages of it. You've been in this. You've been in your dark emotions, your base emotions about what's going on. It has a lot to do with the low vibrational impulses, the seduction of Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? The wanting to tap into more of your inner understanding, your empathies, your thoughts. All that stuff been going on. Also, jealousy, anger, like all this stuff has everything to do with the primary sources of dealing with Scorpio energy, right? The reactive behavior, doing crazy shit, busting windows out your car, slashing tires. You know what I'm saying? The rage that comes out of you when a nigga done fucked you over. You know what I'm saying? Or when the girl done fucked you over. That energy, that's the base, raw energy of Scorpio energy. But it's not all that Scorpio energy is. It's not all that you are. Okay? Somebody talking to me? Mars and Capricorn. Okay. It's not all that Scorpio is. Okay? At its rawest form, its job is to bring the destruction, to feel a little bit intimidating, to feel a little bit much, overpowering all over the place. Oh my God, this is a lot. That's what Scorpio is at the beginning of it. When it's time to destroy and time to get into letting and releasing this shit, it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like you're jealous. It's going to feel like you having some over the top anger because in the reality you are. But it's a reason for it, right? The reason is that the Scorpio is learning, right? Personal experience from loss and betrayal. So the areas in you where you have been sparked by the Scorpio energy in this rawest form is because that's the area where you are experiencing loss and betrayal. And not loss and betrayal to feel like a victim. The feeling of loss and betrayal is going to empower you to your next stage. What's the next stage? Well, where we're at today. Where we're starting out today in the Scorpio cycle, which is the eagle cycle. It's between 10 degrees and 20 degrees. So if you got 10 and 20 in your Scorpio energy places, you're learning the eagle side of the Scorpio energy. Well, what is that? Everything to deal with your power and your courage. That's the reason why loss and betrayal shows up, because you have to activate the feeling of doing this shit for yourself. Does all the supportive energy that you so freely give away in your Scorpion stage, in your 0 to 10 stage, you learn that you need to give that to yourself. That's what you learn. You learn to bring that energy into yourself and say, okay, where do I need to activate courage and power? Well, I need to activate courage and power through these experiences I had, because I realized that I was giving up a lot of my power. I realized that I wasn't showing courage. That's the reason why I was staying in that situation. I was staying in that position, right? In the stages of the eagle is where you learn to fly freely, to be aware of your surroundings, your influence. Is getting that vision keen, right? We've been talking all year about this damn 2020 vision. Oh, I gotta get my 2020 vision together. This is what you've been talking about, right? Well, this is the part of it. This is where you are. You're in the eagle stage where you're looking around, you're feeling. You're in your intuition, and you are really realizing where some spaces where you may have just been not wanting to change. You've been resisting to change, okay? The eagle comes in states of maturity, right? Where you rely heavily on the intuition and the wisdom to solve all the problems, as well as assist in the ails of others, okay? Now that word assist is real keen, okay? They didn't say that you was gonna do it all right? They say, well, you come to I'm gonna do everything. It's to assist in what's going on. See, the difference between the Scorpion level and the eagle level is the Scorpion level think that you can solve everybody's shit, okay? The eagle level is not that, okay? The eagle level is knowing that you can't do any of that, but you can assist people where they are. You can help them, right? Why? Because you're dealing with yourself. You're dealing with your own intuition and where you are, all right? The eagle is also concerned with perception, with philosophy, with wisdom, with just the understanding of the energy. It wants to know why the intensity is there. So it's really in this really keen in-depth of vision of, oh my God, okay, this is why I'm feeling this. okay? It's also keen in observation, powerful intuition, discerns an individual very quickly, okay? And then it can determine whether or not what it wants to do with the energy. Why? Because it's observant. It spent a lot of time just sitting back in the cut and listening to what a person says. This is usually where you'll find a Scorpio in a room and they're asking questions that they already know the answer to see if you really know what the fuck you know, just so they can tell you that you don't know that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's that energy. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because part of the issue with the ego is still struggling with the balance of the power of insight. What I mean is once it gathers knowledge, then sometimes it uses it as a weapon. Okay, meaning like it comes into the perspective like, let me see what I can do. So you have to be really mindful as we're going into this stage, right? Starting today, you're starting to really activate more courage and power about your life. You're realizing that you did have to let some stuff go. You did let some stuff go. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday, the day before, whatever you did, you've been releasing these things. But now that you've been releasing these things and been getting more intuition, getting more downloads, part of it, is really satisfying you. But then the other part of it is, revenge, right? Because it does have that. It does have that level. I want to get you back. You know what I'm saying? So it can use this power, use this knowledge sometimes of, using it in the wrong way. Okay. But as it's learning to balance, the whole balance of having the power of insight, having the power of intuition and being able to see and discern people, right? It moves into its Phoenix stage, okay? The Phoenix stage is the very last stage, and that will be once we get into our new moon, in Scorpio, we'll be dealing with the Phoenix stage. So that will be the cycle that I want you guys to really go in and create new intentions. Like this time that we're dealing with right now, today, tomorrow, yesterday, is about releasing. It's letting go, burying shit. Why? Because we're in the transformation stage. We're transforming into insight. So in order to go fully into insight, you gotta let this shit go so you can open up your intuition and feel. Why? Because our next cycle is about then going full into the final stages of it, which has everything to do with being reborn, okay, from the ashes. The Scorpio is the burn, okay? The Phoenix is the ashes, being renewed, being rejuvenated. That's the feeling of, oh my God, that felt so good. I'm so glad I let that go. That's that Phoenix. Oh my God. Why didn't y'all tell me earlier that I should let that shit go? Why y'all let me sit in there for 3 years? That's that energy where you feel everything is good. You ain't worried about going back into that. You know why? Because you are completely transformed. You are out of it, okay? It also represents the capacity for empathetic observation without judgment. So meaning when the Phoenix shows up, because it recognizes it's going through its own shit and that I have to rebirth my own shit, I ain't got time to judge you, baby. I ain't got time to be sitting here even be concerned or worried about what it is that you're saying and what you got to do. Now I can help you, assist you when I'm done with my stuff, but judging you is not, I'm not concerned with that, okay? Thus, it creates a space where you can expand and have compassion, not only for yourself, but also others, okay? It's also associated with resurrection, transformation, releasing any abused emotional energy, okay? So any spaces that you felt like you just needed to turn the whole thing over, the Phoenix comes in and the reason why I use Jean Grey as an example, because when she became the Phoenix, right, on the end, I don't know what episode, what actual season, what actual X-Men that was, but it was like, she had turned into the Phoenix and she was just like, she was sucking everything up. She was just like killing everything, right? Because it was that, what you could tell was she was ready to like rebirth. Like, if this shit ain't gonna work, let's just kill it all and start over, right? That's that stage where the Phoenix is like, hey, I'm done with all the bullshit. I'm ready to just completely clear, move into the space. Why? Because it wants to break the chains of attachment. Learn to how to move forward and just let all that shit go. That's where that Mars and that Pluto comes in and start to working together. Let's move this shit. Let's change and let's move forward. It ain't got time to be worried about who did what to me, who thought it was, whatever happened. I'm ready to be renewed and go into the next stage, okay? So remember that wherever your stages are, wherever your degrees are, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, this is what you're learning. This is what you're working on within yourself. So don't be so hard on yourself. Understand that you're learning how to be able to go through these stages. If you're in the stage of loss and betrayal right now, understand that you're not going to stay there. You will get into your intuition. You will learn more wisdom and what you need to do to activate out of that. You will go all the way through it to where you completely release it all. That's what we're moving through. And as a world right now, this is our biggest stage. It's our biggest opportunity to go through a lot of things. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this election turns out and how things with what's going on inside of us, really start to show its face starting this week and what we have going on. Okay. All right, so let's get into how y'all transform. Okay, the reason why I asked you what your signs were, because now, let me see, I see the chat open. All right. X-Man from the lesson. Thank you, Kamina. I was like, which one was it? Yes, because, oh my God, it was such a powerful thing. And because, I do astrology, I'm always looking for like astrology things, like references, like what they're doing. Like when I started to see a lot of like superheroes with those hats with brims on them, that's Saturn. That's talking about structure. So it's a lot of symbolism and things that's going on. And that in itself is showing you how Scorpio actually is. How when she's Jean Grey, how she's very, the eagle. She's very like studying things, getting all into things. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really good person or energy to really look into. All right, let's get into the transformation. All right, so I'm trying to move this thing out the way. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it's just in my way. Okay, there it is. Your Pluto sign, the transformer and the revealer. All right, so for those of you that have Pluto in Aries, okay, your change is energetic and urgent. All right, you transform in an energetic and urgent way to your basic beingness. You probe into deepest levels of your existence and forcibly assert your independence for yourself or for your group. You may try to get rid of past identities, your fire side, and how others might see and treat you. You can relinquish past identities and create a new life with new beginnings. So for the Aries energy, understand that the way that you change, you want to do that shit now. You ain't trying to wait. Can we get into it, right? But you'll also activate change in situations where you're dealing with people in a situation, right? So if you're in a group of people and there's some shit going on and somebody ain't really like taking up for themselves or whatever, or you will forcibly create some shit to make that shit change, right? Because that's your job, to push through, to really create new levels and new ways. So sometimes you have to do that shit and people may not understand, okay? They don't understand what you're doing, but you're pushing through. All right, and dealing with Taurus, you're dealing with enduring and possessive. Okay, you seek to transform in an enduring and possessive way in matters related to your personal wealth. Why? Because, like we just said, Taurus deals with all that, right? You may change it slowly. Pluto in detriment, fixed, unchanging sign in a controlled way, and increasing your wealth. So you are materialistic, of course, you're supposed to be. That's not a bad word, and you tend to ignore or be unaware, resistant to change of forces that are acting below the surface, Pluto, which may radical transform. Okay, people in this sign may have strong sex impulses. So having the Taurus energy and dealing with the Pluto, right? So your Pluto sign is definitely Taurus. You're definitely going to have a lot of sex energy because Pluto is still Scorpio. So when you see Pluto, you can actually take that word and put Scorpio, okay, on top of it. So you can see that this is a conversation that you're having. The conversation is Scorpio to Aries. Then it's Scorpio to Taurus. So now it's Scorpio to Gemini. Scorpio to Gemini is versatile and bearable, okay? It's a lot to do with being versatile in a manner that deals with communication, thinkings, and ideas. It's air, okay? It's hidden matters. It's secret in its life and its death. It's communication. So anytime I'm dealing with the change, you can expect the person that has Pluto and Gemini, they're going to be talking about their change. They're going to talk about what the hell they done figured out, what's going on. They're going to reveal the hidden stuff, the stuff that they found. Anything that's dealing with life and death, any conspiracy theories, all that kind of stuff. They're going to bring that to the forefront. They're going to find that stuff. They are the Neo, okay, in the Matrix. Pluto in Cancer, Scorpio to Cancer, all right? Instinctive and protective. You transform in an instinctive and protective matter as it relates to home. Why? Fourth house relates to that home energy. Okay, so a lot of it has to do with that. You reach out into the world or into the depth of the mind cardinal in order to protect the things which are important to you, like your roots, the country, your ethnic groups, whatever, wherever there needs to be radical, drastic change. You do this in a sensitive, emotional, sympathetic way. Water, okay, which is just, it's still transforming, but it's just more in a nurturing type of way. All right, Pluto and Leo, impressive and creative. You transform impressive and creative ways, matters related to pleasure, children. Why? Because Leo rules the house of children, romance, and entertainment. So that means if you're in the area of those things, if you work in any type of area of sexual health, that you're gonna be the person that want to come in and help us to create more platforms for people who are being ostracized, not being welcomed. Okay, if you work in the area of dealing with children, you're a school teacher, then you want to come in and create and change the way that children are being heard and listened to. Why? Because you're one of the listeners for the children. If it's in romance and entertainment, or if you are an actor or actress, you don't want to come in and change anything as it relates to those things that are stale and outdated. Why? Because you speculate and gamble, risking everything to preserve your individuality against impressive and oppressive power. So that means you want to stand up against anything that has anything to do with not being allowed, okay, to be in your shine, right? Leo is the shine. Don't try to turn my shit down. So transforming that whole situation, Pluto and Leo is gonna make sure that they're not allowing themselves to be turned down. If they are, they want to change that shit. And if they're experiencing it through a friend, or a friend is experiencing it, they're gonna tell them. Like, hey, you are not using your power correctly. Pluto and Virgo, the way that you change has everything to do with you diving into the deep and hidden matters of the analytical and the critical manner. All right, you seek self-mastery through work, health, and service. Virgo's job is to deal with the house of health. Okay, no matter where it shows up. So if it's showing up in Pluto, which is transform, right? That means you are a transformer of the health industry, or a transformer in how we look at health. Your job is to study that, look at that, self-mastery, apply it to yourself. Once you apply it to yourself, then you can then help us, help others, help people who find themselves to you, okay? Why? Because Virgo is also working with others. That's his job, all right? Moving on, okay? Pluto and Libra, diplomatic and harmonious. You transform in diplomatic and harmonious ways, matters related to relationships with other partners, all right? So, of course, Libra is the relationship house, right? We just left the house of relationship, but now we're talking about transforming relationships, okay? So, because that is the case, this is where all the issues that Libras usually deal with, meaning, giving too much of themselves or not taking care of themselves enough, the fairness of the relationship, right? It's going to be really concerned with that. And wherever there's some injustice going on to that, any situation that tends to feel like it's manipulation or whatever, then you're there to change that. Your ideas is to change things around the relationship perspectives, okay? Relationships must be perfect or they are nothing, all right? Extreme. So a person that has Pluto and Libra, you are an extreme person when it comes down to relationship. Right? You're not gonna go for the shit. You wanna make sure that it's what it's supposed to be. It's gotta be fair. Okay. You deal with these matters intellectually though through communication. Why? Libra is communication. All right. You are motivated by your values, and while you are normally diplomatic, there may be explosions of anger, Pluto, that occur at what you consider unfair. So what that means is, again, if you allow it to go too far, you push yourself way into a space where you are not taking care of yourself, that's going to be the blow up. That is Libra blowing up. That is Pluto and Libra. Oh, hell no. Because, you know, you have all these reasons, all these things that you want to say as it relates to why this relationship is not doing what it needs to do. Okay? Pluto and Scorpio. All right, now this is a real intense space. If you have Pluto in Scorpio, which I think the only person I saw was Tiff. I don't know who else had it, but you have Pluto in Scorpio, right? It's intense and it's secretive. All right. You delve deep into hidden secrets in an intense and secretive manner in relation to sex and the mind, occult studies, and death. There may be obsession in areas concerning genetic engineering, creating, destroying life, cloning. Okay, the occult studies. So understand that because Pluto already rules Scorpio. If you got Scorpio in that energy, then it's just doubled up, right? It's intense energy, it's secretive energy. It's also real sexual too, which is what we're gonna talk about the sex magic part next. But it's also diving deep into hidden things. So all things magic, all things witchy, all things, you know, astronomy, astrological, just it really wants to like really dive in deep into a lot of hidden things. So that's its job though, right? Because when it goes into those spaces, that's where it allows itself to really transform. Okay. In various kinds of research, not only do you do science discoveries, but it's a period where you just want to kind of like really delve into any type of secrets too. You know what I'm saying? Or not even your own secrets, but just secrets of others you may be drawing in as well. Pluto in Sagittarius, free and tolerant. You transform in a free and tolerant manner, matters related to higher education, philosophy, and then your visions of your future and your ideas. Sagittarius rule those areas. So now we're talking about change, right? We're talking about change, how you can use your change to really further yourself to be free and tolerant. So, well, that means you have to bring in higher education, you have to study, you have to really go out and find the information, right? Sagittarius also rules travel. So part of this is if you want to transform and move, you can't be afraid to go out and travel, go do things that you know you need to do to really get a grip on what is going on. Okay. He said there may be a greater long distance travel during this period to foreign places, perhaps even in space, right? Because it ain't just travel, physical travel. Sagittarius is also a mental thing, right? It's education. So it's also mental travel too, or mental stimulation. Okay. Sagittarius and Geminis are polar opposites to each other. So that's still a very mental perspective of where things are working on you as far as your change is concerned. Okay. This generation are obsessed with foreign travel and about life on other planets as well. So studying, you know, what's going on Pluto would be definitely Pluto and Sagittarius stuff. Pluto and Capricorn, you transform or prudent and reserved. You transform in a prudent and reserved manner in areas related to power, business, and careers. That's because that's what it rules. Rules those three. So that means areas in which you need to really structure out. Capricorn also is ruled by Saturn, which is structure. So this is related to your change in structure. How do you, you know, like go about finding the balance? Well, the only way you get balance to those areas is about bringing in the structure that Capricorn likes to deal with. Okay. This generation may be against authority or wish to become independent of some authority. Okay. You delve beneath the surface in matters related to power over others in a practical, common way. Seek way to remove it. Earth. The transformation is resisted because of a tendency to cling onto old things. Old tendency carefully and prudently make changes. All right. So a lot of this has to do with, again, you're not feeling like that you can have the business and have the family. All right. So a lot of the whole Capricorn energy is making sure that you're breaking free from a lot of old ways that you may have been passed down during your family things, or even the lack of those things, because Capricorn energy tends to want to duplicate what it didn't have. So a lot of that is about you looking at the things that you are duplicating for your own family based on your own childhood and asking yourself, is that really what your children want, or what the people around you really want when it comes down to family? Because I can guarantee you chances are it's not. So you need to transform that idea. Pluto in dealing with Aquarius. Indifferent and unconventional. You transform in an indifferent and unconventional way in matters related to friends and humanitarian matters. That's because that's what it is. It's the 11th house. It's the social house. It's the social world that we're in. Social media, because of the age of Aquarius, right? So a lot of that energy is showing up in ways in which you have to kind of shift some of those ideas too. There are likely to be drastic change in these areas: social, intellectual, relationships between groups of this generation. So because we're in the age of Aquarius, those of you that have Pluto in Aquarius, a lot of the things that you're going to be dealing with is helping to change the foundations from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and then from the age of Aquarius into the age of Capricorn, which is where we're headed now. Okay. So meaning like helping the whole society to realize that a lot of the stuff we're still stuck in is because we still hold value to Pisces stuff, when we need to be shifting into the world. How do we feel? How do we want to move into a place that now that we want to move this way, where is the structure? Why is Aquarius responsible for that? Because Aquarius also has Saturn as a place in what it deals with, okay? It's Uranus and it's Saturn. So it must not only deal with where we are, but also the structure of what we need to get to where we're going. Pluto in Pisces, impressionable and inspirational. You transform impressionable and inspirational ways. Matters due to transcendent beliefs such as religion and spiritual matters. So a lot of this has to do with you really changing and getting outside of your own way as far as the old age of Pisces, especially as it relates to religion. Okay, so any ways and spaces that you find yourself in that you are just still kind of holding true to that, you might need to dive a little bit deeper into what those things mean. You dive into secret matters involving freedom and emotion, feeling and emotions, and deeply held secrets, perhaps by humanity. You may rush to the surface, perhaps increasing psychic ability. So that means if you did dive a little bit deeper into it, because Pisces is the old man and the old woman, right? It's the intuit. It knows everything. So a lot of the things that you feel like you want to hold on to from old ways, the past, if you just dive a little bit deeper into it, you'll see some secrets behind that shit. Why? Because Pluto is the secret. It's some secrets behind it so you can transform yourself and not hold yourself to those old ways. All right. All right, going into Aries and the Ace. This is the sex magic. So now that we just talked about all the Pluto stuff, right? Now you know how you need to transform or ways in which you're going to transform. So now it's taking that energy, right? And now merging it into wherever what's in your eighth house, and then allowing your energy, whatever the emotion is, right? Because Pluto is transformation. So it's also like this extreme intense emotion. So what do you do with it? Now that you know what you got, now that I know I got to transform it, Gigi, what do I do with it? Well, you bring it to the eighth house so we can transform it and use it in sex magic, all right? So if you have Aries in the eighth, first of all, there can be a tendency to enjoy life of sex and seek new experiences. You tend to get bored, right? When it comes down to sex, because again, eighth house is sex, it is sex magic. But because I only want to talk about sex magic, y'all can talk about regular sex with other people. That's why I'm saying sex magic, okay? So when it comes down to this energy, you can tend to get bored, tend to like the routines. You don't want the routine. So what you would do is, if you're having an emotional intensity day, channel that energy into sex magic by role playing, doing some kinky stuff, something that keeps it from being routine, something that you can keep it going so that when you need to really get deeper into it, spend hours into it, really like letting your feelings go into your sex energy, you can do so because you're allowing your energy to play more because you got the kinky stuff going on. Taurus in the eighth, sex is preferred when you establish a secure relationship. Why? Because Taurus wants the grounding, the foundation, right? So once you get that grounding, or one of the ways that you go about that, I want you to channel your emotional energy into your sex magic by establishing foundations for whatever you want the relationship to be, okay? I don't care if you were an open type of relationship, you're not an open type, whatever your relationship style is, understand that Taurus in the eighth needs the foundation. You need some type of security. Once you get the security, then you can step into allowing yourself to really let go and feel safe, okay? And then you can really let your secrets go and let your secrets out to your partner. Gemini in the eighth has everything to do with sapiosexual. So you ain't finna do no sex magic if your head ain't turned on first. All right. So first things first, sparking, conversation, having great intellectual conversation, maybe about sex magic would be really good, because that way you can see what your partner knows, see what you know, and then the more you talk about it, the more your vagina gonna get wet, and the more your dick gonna get hard, because now you're allowing yourself to be stimulated up here first, and once you're stimulated up here, you can feel free enough to channel that energy, the emotional energy, into the in-depths, you know what I'm saying, of what's going on, and allow your hidden pains to come out, because Gemini carry a lot of weight that they don't let people know that they're carrying, okay? Cancer in the eighth. Cancer in the eighth has everything to do with, it wants to have a healing energy. It wants to be healing in that perspective when it comes down to the intimacy, right? Well, the ways that you can channel that energy, because Cancer deals with feeling and the touch, right, is to really create some synergy, some upfront synergy. The way to do that is breathing together, having some deep breath. in and out together, you know what I'm saying? Or doing a lot of touch therapy. That will allow you to have this energy that you need so that when y'all do decide to tap into this sex or have sex in this moment, it's going to go deeper because you've allowed this foreplay of connection to be established. So it creates a level of safety for you, okay? Leo in the 8th has everything to do with, this is one of the signs that wants the whole power couple idea, whatever, or wants power partnership. But it's also freaky as hell, okay? So you got Leo in the 8th, you freaky, okay? But you ain't freaky with everybody. That's the good thing about it, right? So if you're in a relationship already, or or not in a relationship, when you get into that relationship, what you want to do is like really create some intimacy and some bonding situations. Why? Because the things that you want to do freaky, because you don't want to do it with just anybody, you want to know that this can be a fixed space for you, a place where you can kind of really do some stuff. You don't want to just do it one time. You want to kind of really work within this energy, okay? So open the conversations up about also recording some of the sacred sex stuff that y'all have and then watch it for later. Why? Because it's going to spark you to want to fuck some more. Because you freaky, you kinky, you like that kind of stuff, okay? Virgo in the 8th house. Virgo is real particular, okay? Before we get negatives, everything trim, clean, and healthy. So Virgo, before you even get into that energy, okay, Virgo in the 8th, before you get into channeling your sex magic energy, you may want to have some conversation about smells, stuff that turn you off, you want to clean. Not that I know some of y'all saying, well, should I have to have that conversation? Should I have to tell people to be clean? Yeah, because there's some people who don't mind the, fresh after the workout sex, okay? But you don't. You don't want that. So since you don't want that, it's having the conversation, letting it be known, what it is that you're working with when it comes down to your sexual energy, talking about your sex magic, how you want it. You want the candles, you want the smells, whatever. Because once all that is in place, once you know everything is trim, clean, and healthy, and they are in the ideas of what's going on, it ain't no holding you back. You're going to go crazy, okay? All right, Libra in the 8th. Sex needs to be mutually enjoyable and everyone gets their fair share of what they want in the bedroom. Again, Libra's the balance thing, right? So just want to make sure, I gave you this last time, right? So a Libra only for so long gonna be the giver, okay? So they always initiating. Know it's coming today where they finna blow up on your ass about not want to initiate no more, okay? They want to even. So if I initiate today, you need to initiate tomorrow. That's the energy of what's going on, right? But what helps you to be able to create a channel of emotional energy into sex magic is having a conversation about what your relationship model is, how you want the relationship ideas to show up, what's the creativity behind it, what is beauty to you, right? Creating things that sparks the Venus, okay? Why? Because Libra is ruled by Venus. So you have Venus, that's Venus in the 8th pretty much. So sparking those things, because the more you get the balance in this 8th house, the more you're going to feel safe to release whatever is going on with you. Scorpio in the 8th, this is like I just told y'all about the Pluto in Scorpio. Scorpio in the 8th house is the same thing. It's real, super damn intense. Why? Because Scorpio rules the 8th house. So that means it's compacted. So it's no holds bars, sex for this sign. Everything is pretty much sex, okay? It's pretty much the sign of sex. If you got Scorpio in the 8th, you always want to have sex, period, right? But not only just having sex, you want to have deep, intense sex, okay? Real connective sex. So channel your energy by definitely having sex magic conversations, discussing sex magic with your partners, discussing, especially as it relates to how you're going to use it to transform or how you're going to use it as a healing tool or as a manifestation tool. Just talking about it, right? So that you can feel like you're supported, that you can release, that you can like really go safe into any of your seekers of what's going on, because you know that you want to use that space for intense sex purposes and for real great out of this world type of sex. Sagittarius in the 8th is the other part of dealing with this whole power couple thing. It likes a power couple idea. But it's really fueled by intimacy and fueled by adventure. So a way to channel this sex magic energies by traveling or going to places that, you dream. And it's not necessarily meaning the physical, because again, Sagittarius is mind. So you could be having sex magic and you could be talking to your partner about the places where you want to go while y'all are fucking. Okay, why y'all are having sex? This is great what Sagittarius can do because it's all mind. It wants to do mind stuff, all right? Or what you can do is go to some of those places that you've actually dreamed about and have sex along the way. Have sex in the car, have sex in the hotel, but all those things, that's going to charge your sex magic energy and charge what you can do with your emotional energy. Capricorn in the 8th, sex is always your goal, okay? Sharing feelings has a purpose, and succeeding in a relationship is a worthy achievement. So you want to focus on, or going to focus on, how to succeed in having it all, right? So the way to succeed in this, or channel your emotional energy of what's going on or how to transform, is by making sure you have a balance. You need to have a balance between your home life, a balance between who you are as a boss, a business tycoon, or whoever you see yourself to be on all these levels. Just have the balance. The way to get the balance is the structure, okay? Understand that Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. So if you have the structure and what it is that you want to have for yourself in your transformation, then when it comes down to you having sex about it, it's going to be easy for you to have that balance because you're talking about the structure that you need to have in place, okay? Now, while you're having sex, make sure you see yourself balanced and happy in all these levels and all these areas that you know that you want to bring in for yourself, okay? Aquarius in the 8th, anything goes. Aquarius in the 8th is crazy, okay? Aquarius anywhere is crazy, but a good kind of crazy. Why? Because it's room to move around. Aquarius loves to experiment and operate on the fringe or even outside the norm. So channel your emotional energy into your sex magic by letting your mind go wild, let your sexual connection be the driver, get outside the box and just go, okay? All planets are within reach, so just go planet hopping while you fucking. Okay, just talk about all the wild shit, dinosaurs, or other planets. It don't matter. Just do whatever. You know, it's real sci-fi up there, or real sci-fi in the 8th house when you're talking about Aquarius. Okay, Pisces in the 8th, like all water signs, sex is intense. Okay, and it's also wild though for the Pisces. Okay, so channel your sex energy by getting deep into your feelings, realizing what you need to let go. Okay, in dealing with all the stuff that you've been dealing with, like where are your attachments, okay? When you realize what your attachments are, then have a conversation. Because when you have sex, you want to be able to see yourself releasing, tell the truth about where you are and what you need to tap into to have that healing, okay? It's a deep conversation, a deep sexual intimacy that's going on, and Pisces in the 8th want to have that deep sexual connection. All right? Now, let's get into the medical astrology. Because y'all know we got to talk about how all this stuff means. So now that you know where you need to transform, how this sits inside of your body, or what area you need to work on, now it's about how this stuff is affecting you. Okay, so Taurus and Scorpio axis has everything to do with the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so the body parts are the mouth, the jaws, the throat, the thyroid, colon, rectum, bladder, gonads, genital reproductive system, intestines, GI tract, and the brain stem, which is pretty much I got a picture here that shows you when it's coming down from the brain into the spinal cord. Okay, now during this Scorpio time period, if you are having issues with processing your change, your Pluto, your movement, your Mars, your anything that we've talked about, this is where it's going to show up in your body, okay? And if it's already showed up in your body, where mine has showed up a little bit, right? You're going to know that it's because it's some area within this situation that you need to clear. That means you need to let some more shit go. You ain't done yet, okay? You processing still. You still on that basic raw emotion of where Scorpio is, that first cycle of it, right? You'll know it's going to show up the strongest there because that's the place where you're refusing the change. You're refusing the transformation. It's going to show up in those areas. All right. Understand that both Taurus and Scorpio, due to their fixed nature, they're both fixed. They're strongly influenced by the mind. So now we go back to what you're telling yourself. What's the conversation? The reason why Taurus is known as being the hypochondriac, right? And Scorpio is known as being the fear monger, is because they're all in their heads. Half the shit that they think about ain't real. It's what you're telling yourself. That ain't true. Where you get that evidence from? Oh, that's why a lot of Taurus find themselves at the doctor saying that they got problems wrong with them. They run all these fucking tests and what come back is nothing. You know why? Because it's in your head. And so these symptoms are coming out in your body to let you know that it's all in your head. Okay? Watch the story you're telling yourself. I want you to have that phrase in your head. I got that from Brene Brown. The story that I'm telling myself is, okay? If you can correct the story that you're telling yourself, you can start to fix some of these body ailments that you're having because it's in your head. All right. Taurus rules the beginnings, the growth, the development. Okay, the relax and the receive. It's Venus. Give it to me. All right, the functioning of the vagal parasympathetic branch. So it's like, give it to me. It's the receive things, right? Whereas the Scorpio deals with the release of it. Okay, it deals with death, reproduction, ending, recycling, elimination, various reproductive issues, though. Right? Why? Because we are resistant to letting things go, or resisting to the stuff that we're telling ourselves, right? It's starting to internalize into our reproductive organs when we're not eliminating these things properly. What do those include? Sexually transmitted disease, reproductive infections, sexual dysfunctions, reproductive accidents, okay? Unwanted pregnancies, abortions, sexual power, control issues. All that shit has everything to do with your Scorpio energy not necessarily wanting to let go, okay? And what I mean is the fears you're telling yourself, the stuff that you're holding on to. That's what's going on, right? And due to this, right, the modality, the fixed energy of both signs, the excessive retention and the lack of proper potency and flow tends to be the underlying cause of anything dealing with the digestive pathologies associated with this axis. That is including burping, belching, acid reflux, esophageal, I never say this word right, but irritation with the esophagus, intestinal sluggish, and constipation, okay? So if you're feeling this during this cycle and this season, you already know what's going on. Your generative axis is messing up. You're telling yourself something, you're fearing something, something is not transforming, you have not let something go, you are positioning on it, holding on to it, telling yourself a lie, not going through it, and because of that, it's starting to affect how your sexual organs are functioning, therefore affecting how you are thinking now, therefore affecting a whole lot of things, right, that you're telling yourself, and therefore making a whole lot of things in your body now be thrown off. Okay, got it? All right, now let's get into this right here. Let me go back on this thing here. Oh, sorry, I was gonna put y'all on the screen so I can look at y'all face. All right, now one of the things that I want to, for those of you that watch Lovecraft Country, the finale, if you watch the whole season, you'll know that the finale was like a whole bunch of stuff together, right? A whole bunch of stuff. But the issue that we had with the episode had a lot to do with, I'm going to just say tick dying, okay? Or the sacrifice of the black man yet again, okay? Kids still kill. When we going to start killing the black man, right? Well, when the black man sacrificed, which is what he did. What we got a chance to see in this episode of the finale was the past, the present, and the future all came simultaneously together, right? We saw that, you know, they had an episode prior to that went back to Tulsa. We saw that there was some things going on with Tick intervening in the situation with the bat. So we see that they are now starting to travel in between worlds, right? But what we also see that there's a struggle of letting go and resistance. So if you ask me, when we see how the season started off, we were all dealing with level 1 Scorpio. We was all 0 to 10, all fighting, don't want to do this. Oh, what's going on? Like going through all these changes, right? But as we got to the middle of the episode, or as we got to episode 7, we started seeing the truth started coming out, right? We started to see the ego start to come into place, the information, the transformation, all the stuff that we know we need to know when it comes down to who we are and how we are, to the point to where even though we know those things, we still have to face what needs to be faced when it comes down to the transformation and the rebirth in dealing with our lives. We all were born at a time period coming in here that we have to clear some karma. So if you ask me what was really going on in this perspective of the death, because we're dealing with sci-fi, we're dealing with magic, we're dealing with all different levels here on this particular, entity of a series, right? And because that is the case, I'm looking at death how we should be actually looking at death, which is it's not the end, right? Now notice that Tick knew, and looking at the book, he knew several different things about his son writing the book. He knew that, it said that he was going to die. He knew all these things. And even though he knew all these things, right, he still himself didn't resist being able to go through that process. Why? Because he had already seen something more. Same with Hippolyta. Hippolyta has been going in and out of intervals and worlds. And one of the things I saw on like some of the feedback, people was like, all that information Hippolyta know, and she couldn't stop it. And I'm like, well, why do we want to intervene in what we know we're supposed to do in our path? You know, when you know your path, then you're okay with how it turns out. It's only when you feel like you don't know your path that you gotta fight or you gotta go against the status quo. Just look at this picture. When y'all see this picture that I got on here, or you looking at this picture that I got on here, for those of you that's not on, you can see how there are, look how the women are positioned. You know what I'm saying? You got Hippolyta kind of in the middle at the top, right? So to me, she represents the top of the pyramid. When we start to think about transformation, pyramid is another thing that comes up. You know, it's showing you how it takes three in order to go into enlightenment. Hippolyta is showing that she knows something. And even though Tick had to go through this process of sacrificing, or I'll say the Black man sacrificing once and for all, choosing to go through this process of releasing the white man's hold, right? That's what this whole thing was. It was what was considered the white man's power, which has always been ours. All this magic, all this shit is ours. So ain't no theirs. So when it comes down to no matter what religion you think about, no matter what, it's all ours. Even the dark shit of it is ours. The shit that we don't face, that we're dealing with when it comes down to this country as a whole, that shit is still ours too. So what this is saying is that we are reclaiming, we are bringing back to power. We're putting our Black men back into power by us women taking control. These three women are control. He ain't necessarily, look at how Tick Dad is kind of over to the side, right? You have the three women in power and then he's over to the side. Why? Because he also knows it's time for him to release the control too. There are men as a whole know it's time for them to release control. So Tick ain't dead, okay? He sacrificed, he went through a transformation. And I wanted to just show that being a point of understanding that we all have to go through transformation, and we can't be, if we really want to go to heaven and we really want life here as we see it, we can't be afraid to die. And we can't be also afraid to let people around us that want to sacrifice for what it is that we need to go through, because we all have chosen what it is that we want to do. And because we have, this is a part of it. Death and rebirth is a part of it. If you are afraid to die, you're going to be stuck and you're going to die anyway. So Tick knew he was going to die anyway. He just chose the ways in which he needed to go to be able to save what's getting ready to come after that, which is this new season, which I wish they would release it right now. Please let me see it. I'm starving. I want to watch it. But I'm seeing so much stuff. I'm allowed to go back and really revisit a lot of things. And I'm starting to see how powerful this is. And even though it was a lot of chaos going on, right? Are y'all in a lot of chaos right now? Have y'all been going through a lot of watching things break down and go through things? It's power in it, okay? It's death and rebirth in what it is that we're going on. And this is what it was showing us. It was showing us that he had to, Black men had to choose this sacrifice. Why? Because they got to get out the way. White men have been making them the target. We have been going along with them being the target too. That's done and over. Time for women to regain their power. And as you can see, look at how Letty look in the front. You can tell she mad. Letty is finna fuck some shit up, y'all, on season 2. Watch what Letty do. Why? Because she has that baby. Tick died for that baby, right? But he gonna come back. But what I'm saying is this baby is giving her, she's carrying the rebirth, okay? Understand that. He died for this new revelation that we're getting ready to see in it, okay? And you have to do that too. You gotta die. Some shit about you gotta die for you to be reborn, okay? All right, now I'm gonna bring y'all back. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Oh goodness, I'm 20 minutes over. Jesus. Now, how y'all feeling? Y'all good over there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check on y'all. Are y'all in y'all's eagle stage? Y'all watching and dissecting and bringing it all in, you know? But I want to talk just a little bit about what we can do today, right? Y'all all know where y'all transformation lies. You know what your signs are, right? And what you need to do. If you have pictures of some deceased loved ones, pull them up. And if you can print them out, print them out. Okay, create you a shrine. A shrine is literally, it could be a tier, it could be, 1, 2 tiers, it could be flat. It don't have to be. But it's a place in where you put pictures of your ancestors, the deceased ones that you know you had contact with, right? So they could be your grandmama, great grandmama, these people. And I want you to have some conversations with them and stop tricking yourself to say, well, they ain't gonna talk back. You don't need a body to talk. We know this, okay? Have some conversations with your ancestors about things that's related to what's going on right now, right? Have some deep conversations and start to write those things out. Why? And put them on your shrine, or leave them on the altar on your shrine until the new moon. Okay. Write them out, burn a candle. If you got a white or a black candle, burn those. Black candles help you to banish things, okay, and release things. So that's what the black candle is for, okay? So that you can really just release a lot of things. You can do the white candle to like bring the light in. You bring the light into your ancestors. Now I have some people like, well, not all your ancestors are supposed to be you're supposed to be contacted. Whoever's supposed to show up, whoever's showing up for you right now, that's who you need to contact. Ain't no such thing. We gotta stop being so scared, okay, of things coming in. You are powerful, okay? So if somebody or something is coming in, it's coming in because it's some information that you need to know. All right, and start to journal out conversations that you're having intuitively as you're talking to your ancestors. I didn't have the opportunity of meeting my grandfathers, but I know that they're here. I can feel them. How can I feel somebody that I never met? The reason being is because that's the energy that I feel like those of us, especially Black women right now, we're relieving a lot of the trauma that was dealing with the masculine cycle. That's what this whole Me Too shit is about. We've been living this out through the things that they had in their head that they was not able to release throughout the generations. The women in our cycles dealt with it. Sexual trauma, being sexually abused, being raped. That's us, right? So let's talk about it. Let's have some in-depth conversation on how we can change this thing by talking to the ancestors who have come before you that have not had the opportunity to talk and clear. Okay? Be a conduit for your family so you can realize what power you really have and use the Scorpio cycle and transform the shit. You can do it. That's the reason why things are breaking down. It's breaking down to give you power. All right? Any questions?
Straight to the chase.
That's how I'm looking at y'all, how y'all looking at me. What the fuck is y'all gonna do with this energy? Oh, let me, y'all can unmute yourself.
I don't know what to do with the energy.
What you mean you don't know?
I mean, I don't know.
Come on, this your release session. Release it. What you gonna do with it?
What am I gonna do with the energy that I'm feeling?
Yes.
I'm just trying to, I guess, manage my emotions about everything and try to stay calm and just not try to be angry woman.
Well, it's part of it, right? Did I just not say the dark shit is a part of this?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's not, I'm not saying to blow up on people.
Take over.
Yeah, no, don't, you can't let it take over. But listen to the thing too. Even if it does, because some of y'all Scorpio shit that already took over, all right? Even if it does, you're still learning through the experience. So it's still okay. You just can't run from it. The fact that you are aware where your Scorpio energy lies, where your transformation lies, now you have a place where you can go and do something about it. You have a place to deal with it. That still don't mean that's not gonna change the feeling. Because you know where your Pluto energy is and because y'all know where y'all Mars is, that's not going to change the fucking feeling that you have. But you still need a tool that you can use. What can I do with it? Shit is in my body, right? Now you know what you can use. You don't have to just sit there with it. Okay?
Oh, wait. That's the question. My Mars is in Taurus.
Okay.
What does that mean for me?
You already know what that means for you.
No, I don't.
Mars and Taurus, number one, is lazy as hell. Okay. So you don't really want to move. You don't want to make the move. But this is also the thing about Taurus. It doesn't like to be uncomfortable. So you're going to either, stay there and be uncomfortable, or you're going to make the move. So that's what happens. You'll just stay in position and stay in position and stay in position. And then you're like, oh my God, I just can't take this no more. Eventually, you're going to get up and make a move. You're going to shift something. But it ain't, Mars don't like Taurus. They're not buddies. They're not friends. Okay? Because Taurus rather not do that shit. But one thing that I have told you, and just, Mars and Taurus in general, having a coach or having somebody that holds you accountable would just be great. Because sometimes the laziness in you or the feeling good of the energy of Venus will make you want to sit in it. I don't want to do nothing. But that's not going to get you to your greatness, because that Taurus energy is also supposed to be the all-American. Like, it's supposed to be bossing that shit, right? So you're supposed to be bossing your movement, knowing how you want to move. And you do, because I know you. I know that you know how you want to move. But I also know that sometimes you put it off. I'll do it later, right? That's what Mars and Taurus do. I'll do it later. Let me go and, let me go eat a snack real quick. Let me go fuck real quick. Let me go lay out real quick. Everything else before the movement.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have Mars and Pisces, so my shit is similar. I'm like, okay. I'm like this for a minute. Okay. They gonna do what again? What did I agree to do? Like this fucking class. I've been up since 4 to 5 this morning. Okay, I was up with an event. But you know what I do? I give myself a class the day after. I know I'm gonna be fucking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, right? So all day I'm fucking, doing the Mars thing in my head, like, why you keep doing this shit to yourself? Why you keep, being the old ass person, cussing myself out, right? But I'm doing it because I need to. That's why I'm doing it. Because if I don't, I'll keep giving myself excuses on why. It took me, like, I started doing these monthly classes when I first started doing astrology. I've been doing astrology since 2012. You know what I'm saying? So it took me until 2020 to come back to do monthly. That's fucking Mars and Pisces. That's what that is. So understand, having this energy is not going to change it. You yourself, this is where you take those 3 stages of Scorpio and you now have to employ yourself. What stage you want to be on? Are you going to be on the first stage, first to 10 stage? Like, oh, well, this is, I'm just raw with it. It's everybody's fault. If I had it this way, that's what the Scorpio is resistant to it. I'm trying to do it. No, you're not. Because if you're talking more than you being about the action, Mars is action. That's what Mars is. If you're talking more than you're doing the action, then you're lying to yourself, which is another area that Scorpio be inside of, lying, not telling the fucking truth. Okay? Any other Mars questions? Y'all don't want to fucking move? Y'all, we moving. Y'all listen, Mars and Pisces, if I'm gonna fucking move, y'all moving too. We doing it together. Okay?
I got Mars and Leo. I ain't got that problem.
I have a question. Mars and Gemini. So what does? Yes.
Showing up. I do want to do it, but I don't know. You're your worst enemy. There's 2 people in there, right? Primarily, it's really more than 2. Okay. Primarily, it's 2 people in there. It's one person who knows, and there's the other person that tells you that you don't know shit. Okay, because you don't know shit, it's saying, well, maybe we shouldn't. Okay, then you start to talk to other people. Now you got their ideas in. The Gemini has to be very mindful of taking on other people's perspectives. Okay, so your stuff has a lot to do with you not moving sometimes, because are you solid on your own? Are you sabotaging it? Or are you allowing other entities that's coming in to sabotage it? I sabotage myself. I'm gonna just be honest. This is my own shit. Ain't nobody fucking with Gigi. It's me. If it's something that I don't do, it's because my old ass gave myself a reason. My back hurting. Oh my God. Oh, I got a headache. Let me lay out. Yeah, of course, you're a Pisces, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm you when it comes down to moving. And that's the way you have to look at it. Like, start to look at these things as relationships. So when you start to do that, then we could go even more in depth, right, with the other aspects that are starting to affect you. I can't give you too much if you can't even understand the basis of what Scorpio is, the basis of what Taurus is and how it shows up, the basics. So now you can see that there's other angles and stuff that's fucking coming in that's also affecting that. It's not just this. This is the core of you. Every year you'll be dealing with these same aspects, but not every year you're going to be dealing with the Mercury retrograde Scorpio. So Mercury retrograde, Mercury communication, Scorpio is everything we just fucking talked about, right? So you're having a conversation about your change. You're having a conversation about the places which you're still staying whole, right? Because Taurus is also a part of this conversation too. So where are you changing and where are you not changing because you're comfortable? Because you got everything you think you want. No, you don't. It's so much more to you. Okay? I just saw something pop up on the chat.
Thank you.
Okay. Kareem, I attacked you. I'm sorry. Yeah, we all need that spanking because right now we all complaining. We're complaining right now, but that's because you're coming out of the Scorpion stage into the Eagle stage. So you're supposed to be complaining. You're supposed to be have your mouth poked out. You're supposed to be mad, okay? You're supposed to be burping. Remember I just told y'all burping, digestion, all this shit is dealing with Scorpio. So whatever the fuck is going on in your stomach, we at 0 to 10. We're coming into 10. Today is day 1 of 10. So start fucking researching and getting deeper into what it is that you see about yourself. All right? Any more questions? Mars, Pluto, 8th house. Huh?
Mars and Cancer.
Feeling. Okay, so a lot of this is about what you feel. And then what you do when you get into your emotions of, you see how you in that bed feel good, don't it? You spend a lot of time in that fucking bed, don't you? Like that. When shit get hard, that nice ass pillow you on right now, that is your refuge. That's your issue too. You know what I'm saying? It's not wanting to feel the intensity. Sometimes that Cancer energy can get real. It's water, so it can get intense, right? And when it does that, you want to retreat into the bed. But understand that part of the issue is owning your power. You have a lot of power that you have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And then also nurturing. Okay, nurture yourself. Give yourself more nurture. And that doesn't mean escaping to the fucking bed and being there for 4 days.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. See how when I attacked that pillow, she was like, "Oh, you see that pillow?" Yes, yes, Mars and Cancer.
I be in my bed. I work in my bed for the last 2 days. You're right.
Yeah. You know, and we all in that space. We all in this space of release and relieve, and it's okay. But guess what? By the time this new moon comes in Scorpio, y'all ass better be out them beds, out that food, whatever you using as a substitute. You should be transforming out of that. Okay? I'm just here to let you know where you're transforming. And I'm transforming with you. Everybody is transforming with you. There's not a soul that is not going through some part of transformation right now. Okay? Some of us just smiling through it. That's me. Fuck it, I'm gonna smile through this shit, right? Because I'm tired of being sad and crying about it. Ain't nothing wrong with that though. Ain't nothing wrong with crying through it. I'm just not there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that stage. All right? If no other questions, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'll send y'all playback along with y'all PDF so you can study some more. No more. Y'all have no other questions, right?
No, I have a question.
Y'all know what come on, then, Miss Williams.
Only because my Mars is in Scorpio, and you know I always have this double up stuff, and I know it's like double energy. Why?
That's a lot. So the Mars in Scorpio energy is good. Okay, it's a safe space. Okay, understanding it's a safe space because it's at home. But also understand too that if you allow yourself to go too far into your fear-based situations, this shit can go bad, yo, like quick and fast. It can go bad. So understand that remember I said earlier, the story I'm telling myself, Did y'all hear me say that? That I want y'all to be checking yourself using that phrase? Crystal, you really have to use that phrase. That's your fucking motto, the story I'm telling myself. Because a lot of the moves you make is based on the story you're telling yourself. If you don't move, it's because what you told yourself. If you are moving, it's what you told yourself. So just watch that story. That's it. But it's not a bad placement at all. It's just a fucking intense placement. Okay, sexual wise, that's intense as hell. Okay. I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit for y'all. Y'all know that. It's intense, right? So make sure you have conversations with who you fucking like, yo, this gonna go somewhere, bro. You ready? You ready? You might need to back up on up out of that, because you know, you're gonna have somebody in your hand who just confused. They just like, what's happening here? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, love. Well, I'll see y'all next month for Sagittarius. Until then, y'all know what y'all need to do. Work this shit all the way out to the new moon. Like I said, new moon time, then implant everything that you release and you wanted. Take that new moon ritual and just put it out there and watch how quick. From this point moving forward, our speed of manifestation is gonna happen really quick. So make sure that you ain't manifesting no shit you don't want by the story, okay? That's why I say watch the story you're telling yourself. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it looks like. Watch the story you're telling yourself, okay? Especially after Tuesday, because some shit finna get ready to hit the fan, and it's gonna make you doubt yourself. No, the fuck it ain't. Not on my watch. Watch the story you're telling yourself. All right? I love y'all.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, G.
Bye, Dre. Bye, Courtney. Bye, Karima.
Peace.
Bye, Marcel.